welcome to the Might Ramble podcast.
Rob, tell us about that.
Not two, not three, not four, not five.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest.
Hello, everyone. Before we begin, the views expressed in this podcast are our personal views and do not reflect those of any employer, university, research institution, funding body, or collaborator. Participation by guests does not imply endorsement of my views, nor does my hosting imply endorsement of theirs. Okay, that's all. All right. Welcome to episode 14 of the Might Ramble podcast. Today, my guest is Casey Toural. I don't know if you want to go by Casey Toural Worth or not, but
I'll take all the last names.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any other titles I can give you. She's originally from Spain. She has a 4-year degree from somewhere in Missouri, the Show Me State. And today, I think we're going to have a conversation mostly focused about just kind of like the journey of life and discovering who you are and the process of changing and, I don't know, being able to be like, I'm very different than I used to be before, and the implications of that, and like psychologically, I guess, just like how someone thinks of themselves, and what it means also to be able to reflect back and be like, I'm very different than I used to be before. So that is my introduction to Casey. Casey, do you want to give us an introduction of yourself?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I feel like you and I have connected always super fast, and then I feel like we always want to talk about so much more.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're finally doing it. But
Yeah.
I guess I'm Casey. Real name's Cassandra if you want my government name. But
Social Security?
Social Security, I can't say that. I'm kidding. But I grew up in Spain, as you have already mentioned.
Yeah.
My dad's Spanish. My mom's American. It's funny because they met in St. Louis University in Missouri.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my dad was there in a scholarship for
Wow.
soccer, of course. That's
So
the
it went
one
like
sport.
Missouri to Spain?
Yes.
Spain
Back to Missouri.
Wow.
Yes. So growing up in Spain was really different, but then every summer I'd come to America and spend like a month or so with my family. So I was kind of in and out. I remember always packing my luggage with Cookie Crisp and Twizzlers on the way back to Spain.
Cookie Crisp, a blast
I
from
don't
the
know
past.
why. It was my favorite.
Cookie Crisp was so good as a kid, for sure.
It was so ridiculous. And then it came after high school that I had the decision to, okay, all my friends have already gone to college. They already started their college journey, and I still hadn't because I had to take a year back because of a back surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to go into a little bit about...
Yeah, you know what? We're already in it. So let's go for it.
We made it like 90 seconds.
I know. Now
And the back injuries come up.
We'll
so.
move forward eventually. But yeah, so it's a kind of like a crazy story. The more I never realized how crazy it was till I started like talking about it in my adult life in a way. But I was born with a little bit of spinal bifida when you're like in your mom's wound, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
When you're in your mom's womb. I don't even know how to say
Womb.
it. Womb.
Yeah.
Thank you. Here we go. But your vertebrae are kind of open, and then they slowly start closing, and that's what forms your vertebrae.
Yeah.
So my lower ones never really fully closed. So when I was growing up, they were like, okay, you might be having some issues. Let's just check up every year. So I'd go to checkups. Everything was fine. Then I started doing gymnastics, and I complained because my back hurt. And like, well, yeah, you're you're doing gymnastics. Like, of course it's going to hurt. And then it came to the point where I was like, no, this like really hurts. And no one would really take me seriously.
Sure.
So I was a little annoying.
It was like
to
a
say
concussion
the
in
least.
football in small town Iowa. It was like, no, you'll be fine in a
Like,
week,
not
dude.
keep
Like,
doing it.
We need you next Friday night. You know,
Exactly. There was no time to stop, basically. And then it came to the point where I was at a live show with my dad, actually. And I could feel the pain. And then for the first time ever, it went down to my legs. And it went from pain to losing sense. And then I dropped on the floor.
Scary.
And I was like, what's going on? This is not normal.
Yeah.
From that day on for 7 months, I was bedridden. It just kept getting worse. And also...
How old were you?
I was 17 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it was senior year of high school. Everyone was getting ready to graduate and looking forward to the next
Like,
adventure.
You've lost the capability to move.
Yes, and when you're 17, for the most part, you're used to doing everything. Like, the world's your oyster. I was running, I was doing gymnastics, still playing soccer here and there. And it went from being such an athletic kid to having to call my mom to use the restroom.
For sure.
So it was like a big scare, and it obviously made me really sad.
Yeah.
Little depressive episode over there as well, just to throw it all in there in the mix. And then they found out that like my bones were just not really stable. I had missing pieces of bones. It was like the back of an 80-year-old, which I think is an expression that we all say like, oh man, I've got an old person's back.
Yeah.
I actually did at 17. So it was really interesting, and I wasn't walking. So the surgeon decided, you know what, let's just fuse your lower 4 and lower 5 vertebrae and see what happens. In Spain, like going to the doctor is free. So you do get good doctors, but it does take a little longer.
For sure. Yeah.
However, after my surgery, there was no PT, no nothing. This
Oh, wow.
was
Like
11
no follow-up.
years ago. No.
That's crazy. That's a huge operation, right? Like
Yes.
that's your central nervous system. And if something like is awry or doesn't heal properly, like this is a direct interface to the brain, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
I had to sign a will. I had to sign
Oh my-
all these documents at
Oh my
the age of
gosh.
17.
that's crazy.
I was like, I leave it all to my sister. And I'm like, I think I might have $300 in my bank account if so. But I was like, okay, this is serious, you
Yeah,
know?
for
It was
sure.
really scary. But at that point in life, you are going through so much pain that just like a solution
yeah,
is like, wow, I'm going to take my chances. I don't care.
for sure. I don't know if you know this about me, but so I can relate a lot in the sense of I think I was like 14,
Mhm.
right? And I grew up in small town Iowa, and we were very fortunate to have an incredible strength and conditioning coach. He was like a disciple of a guy that used to train the Iowa football team, right, for
Mhm.
strength and conditioning. So we had this really good coach, but I don't know what he was thinking. One day, so I was like 8th grade coming into high school, and we were lifting, and as our warm-up activity, there was this like ramp,
Yeah.
like concrete ramp. And so what we did is we were on our hands and knees, right? And we would crawl over each other's backs, right? And it was
What?
like once you had crawled over everyone's back, then you would go on your hands and knees like I don't know what you call it, like a fartlek,
Yes, yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Like crawling over each other's back on this incline ramp of concrete, right?
That's
so here
nuts.
I am. That's insane. I was like, but it's like your coach telling you to do this.
Yeah, so
I'm
you
like,
have to at that point.
right, I'm doing it, and I'm like,
This is
8th
insane.
grade, 14. I'm, not exactly muscular at this point. I'm just starting to lift. I might be all of 120, 130 pounds.
Yeah.
And there's like senior football players, right, that, go on to play college football that are,
Big boys.
250, 280, 300 pounds, right, crawling over each other's backs,
Oh my
including
God.
mine, right? So I got done with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a few days later, I'm like, God, like my back hurts, right? And so
Something
that was
feels
like,
off.
right, this was my initial back injury, right? And then my back was never quite, I don't know,
The
quite the same
same.
after that. But it
Mhm.
wasn't until I got to be like a sophomore in high school, and I'm trying to think exactly what happened. It was like a JV football game. I like turned to hand the ball off to the running back. Someone on my backside didn't block, right? And so I just get like crushed like,
Oh,
in the
no.
back,
Mhm.
right? Everything seemed fine. I remember like there was only a few weeks left of the season, and my back was just kind of numb there, but it wasn't exactly painful. So I just kept, playing through the season. I get into basketball season. We get like a month in, like one of my coaches sits me down. They're like, Mitchell, like your stats are way down from last year. You just seem like kind of off. You're not moving as well. Like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm fine, right? I've got still like this back numbness.
Yeah.
And then it was all of a sudden, we had like a Friday night game, and then I did that, right?
Yeah.
I guarded this player. I like had to defend really hard. I was chasing this guy around all night. I get up Saturday morning for our game, and I literally can't fucking move. Right?
That's
I'm like
terrifying.
almost like crying, trying to
It's
move, right?
scary.
Yeah.
You
and
know, you're confused, you're scared, you're like, is this forever?
for sure. And it was, well, it's also, you just like, I hadn't had any experience with like a big injury or anything. And you have this, I don't know, if you're on sports teams and stuff, you have this kind of social, like positive peer pressure of like, you don't
Yes.
want to be the person that has to sit out, right?
Oh no.
It like burn, like it's a terrible feeling if you're not
Yep.
able to take part in it. So I have the Saturday morning like warm up experience. I still start the basketball game, but within like 2 minutes, it's very clear. I just
like,
like
I
I can't
cannot.
even move, right? So I come out, right, and I go and get an MRI. I had a fracture in my back, right?
wow.
L4, L5. So
Hey, look, twins.
Yeah.
Not the good type.
yeah, and I still have that. So there's mine. It was like originally something called spondylolysis, and the progressive version is like those fractures don't heal, so your vertebrae aren't as stable, right?
Yeah.
And so they can slip, and so that's what I have now. I have
Yes.
the lowest grade of it, but it's called spondylolisthesis, and yeah, I don't know that experience though. When I first heard it, particularly, like there was like a 2-week period. I couldn't even get out of bed.
Yes.
Right.
You need help for everything.
And just like shooting down my leg, and like there is no way.
And
to
it's
be
every
functional.
second of the day. And when I feel
For
like
sure.
when it's back pain, it like affects all your other extremities.
Yeah, it's the thing about back pain too. Like if you break your arm, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
But you don't have to use your arm for everything. Like your back is involved in literally
It's
everything you
posture,
do.
it's sitting, it's even laying down. You're laying down in bed and you're still in pain and you're trying to figure out all these different positions. And it's like, everything's going to suck.
Yeah. Like it'll feel like maybe a little bit better for like 15 minutes, and you're like, I gotta flip sides.
It
blah,
was
blah, blah.
terrible.
This is when I
Yeah.
became a side sleeper. But
That's funny. I've always been a side sleeper.
yeah,
In between my legs.
yeah. So that's kind of been like I've had that back injury, and then
Yeah.
over the years, there's been times when I say where it gets
Does
really.
it flare up?
Oh yeah, like I've had big flare ups where
Mm-hmm.
like I have to sit out again of stuff for like it'll be like 3 to 6 months, right, and go through the whole PT process again.
Yes,
of
it's
getting-
like starting from zero, and that's something I was
Yeah.
talking to one of my friends the other day, and I'm like, I'm tired of having these flare ups, and then I feel like I'm back to square zero, and
Yeah.
it's like you try to stay positive because at least you know what you have to do in order to get better, but deep down, I don't know if you have this, but I have the fear at times that it might get worse, and it might be one of those points where it brings me back to being young and not knowing what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
And the unknown of not knowing if I'm ever going to be able to walk. I think that's something that deep down terrifies me whenever I have flare-ups. It's like, don't think of worst case scenario,
Yeah.
but sometimes it does pop there, and you got to like calm down
For
and
sure,
tell all
it's
those
not
thoughts.
a given that it's going to get better, right? So-
Exactly.
yeah, and it's terrifying. So you had, your experience and you got a fusion.
Yes.
Right? And you
Learned how to walk again, which was crazy.
Yeah. What was that? What is that like?
It was awful. That was the worst pain I've ever experienced.
Really?
It was really bad. My parents were also getting a divorce at the time. So
Great.
like the
Love that.
hospital room was not fun, I'll tell you that. It was terrible timing for
There's a
all
lot
of
of dynamics
us.
going on
Way
there.
too much going on in the
Yeah.
hospital. And then I was living with my grandma at the time
Sure.
in
In
Spain.
Spain, yeah.
Yes, because my parents were trying to figure out their divorce. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go live with abuela.
Yeah.
But she cooks the best food. That's my happy place. That's my safe place. So I was living with her, and then I remember having this thought of like, I just got a ticket to live this other life. Like, and it kind of gave me this perspective that I think this is why my sister and I are so different.
Is your sister older or younger?
She's younger.
Younger, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
she saw all this develop, and it gave me like this, how do you say, like this new light
Yeah.
of, man, you have one life. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you worrying about small things? Why are you still in Spain? Why haven't you gone travel more? Like it gave me like this new like welcoming to life. It was like a
Yeah.
rebirth in a weird way.
Yeah, and I kind of think so. Like, I'm from a really small town.
Yeah.
And I grew up, and it was very idyllic for me. It's an easy place to like gain confidence.
You kind of know
and-
everyone.
right? And I can do all the things,
Yeah.
right? And it's very safe, and I can go down
That's
to
the
the
word,
local
it's
gas
safe.
station and be like, yeah, put it on my family's account, right? Like that type of thing.
It's comfortable.
It was great,
You
right?
know?
But like once I kind of graduated high school, and then I went to a big public university. It's like your whole
How was
world.
the change?
Yeah, your whole world opens up. You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, oh, I could do like X, Y, Z, right?
You can do anything
yeah.
if you want to. And that was, I think, the surprising thing. Like, man, the only limit is self-imposed at the end of the day. The only
Yeah.
limit obviously financially there are certain limits, but you can always figure out your way around that.
Yeah.
But I think that was something that after experiencing such severe pain, that was like, if I'm feeling well,
Yeah.
I can do whatever. And I have the power
For
to
sure.
do that.
That is like one big thing. So I've done some
Yeah.
public writing about my story, so I might as well. There's just nothing to hide really here. But
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, once I got to college and I went through a really bad drug addiction to stimulants, and
Yeah.
when you're really down bad like that and just like wrecked by something, when you find yourself back in a place where you're healthy and well, it is like
Like
one, the
what?
gratitude, and
Yes.
two, you're like, oh my God.
I'm
like,
never taking that for granted again.
I'm not taking this for granted, and I got to do something with my life. Like, what I
Yes.
say, if I'm healthy and well, I must
I have
make
no
the most of this.
excuse.
Yeah.
You know, maybe back in the day you had all the excuses that you could think of when you were in pain, but now that you're healthy, you're like,
Yeah. And you're just like, not this is my time to shine, but you're like, I have to make the most of this,
Yes.
right? Like, because this can be taken away, and I've
at
experienced
any
this.
second.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part, that all these things like can just come up in flare ups and like
Yeah.
the worst time of your life.
For
but
sure.
it's still gonna happen, and you're still gonna have to navigate them. So
Yeah.
at least it's nice. Like every time they happen, I feel like it's like a little lesson of like, okay, how are we going to navigate this one?
Yeah, and you do get better. Like you learn how to, how do I work with my body or whatever it is in
100%.
terms
Yeah,
of
whatever
sobriety,
helps you
but-
reduce the pain, or also like staying positive. I remember my last flare up was pretty bad and I was running a lot.
When was that?
This was probably summer, at the end of summer
Okay.
last year. And I had started running a lot and I was loving it because running was something that the doctor said I was never going to be able to do.
I've been told this as well.
Exactly.
Right? Like you shouldn't do.
You shouldn't be
big
doing
distances.
it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now I can do it. So I'm going to take advantage, So they tell you can, you start feeling good, and then you
It's
kind
like
of
the
go a little
forbidden-
crazy.
It's like the forbidden fruit. You're
It
like,
is.
oh, like once I've had a taste of this and they told me no, like, oh my God.
Now I
gotta hit
can't
it hard.
stop.
Yeah.
So last time when that happened, everyone kept running. It was lovely. It was summertime. It was so nice to go run. And then it got taken away from me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start swimming. And then I was like, I'm going to start biking. So then started like finding myself in the triathlon kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, once I start running, I can just do it all. So it's been fun now because like whenever something happens, like a flare up, it's like, I'm going to find my way through it.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just not my time to start to keep running.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to do it again. It just
sure.
means right now, maybe put a little pause, and it's an extra challenge. We like challenges, right? They make us tougher. They make you better, in my opinion.
A little bit of adversity.
Just a little, not
yeah.
too much. I'm a little sensitive, but
Yeah. I was telling someone recently that, like, I don't know where exactly I land spiritually in terms of like believing in a God that personally cares about me and
Mm-hmm.
what do I say. But one thing in the favor that there may be a personal God is, for example, eating could only just be nutritious, right? But it's deeply pleasurable, and so it's like
1,000%.
maybe there's like a spiritual thing. It's like I've made a pretty tough existence, but like we're gonna give them food, right? At least that will be
Thank
pleasurable.
God, growing up in Spain, food is like the
Top
main.
part.
Like
when
it
I think of
is
Spain, I think of like sitting in this restaurant in a
for
bar or whatever,
hours.
and it's like tapas
You know,
and yeah.
I
for
thought it
sure.
was really funny. This is from last week in the Bad Bunny show. But there's
Oh, yeah.
a scene where there's a kid sleeping in 2 chairs and he wakes him up. And I'm like, that is the most Hispanic thing on earth. And I remember calling it out to my boyfriend who's from Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't understand. This is culture right here. Like our family stay for so long at
Chef's
places
kiss, yeah.
that you just learn how to fall asleep in 2 chairs.
Yeah.
And then they just wake you
That's
up and you're like,
funny.
it's 2 a.m. I don't care. My parents are taking me home safe. It is wild. It's funny, me coming from Madrid and you coming from Iowa. I wonder if we would have like switched in college because I went to Missouri and I had that culture shock.
Yeah.
I think it would have been fun for you to like experience Spain at
Oh,
the age
yeah.
of 18.
For sure.
'Cause-
I don't know if I was mentally prepared considering what I had going on at the time in terms of drug
You
addiction,
get
but
prepared.
it would have been interesting at least. That's for sure.
Okay, so tell me more about your college experience. I was reading a little bit about it. You
Okay.
shared a beautiful, I don't know if you call it like a journal prompt. You shared a beautiful, just like thing, like piece of work that to me, that's like artwork in a way.
Thank you.
You
Yeah,
know?
like letting someone. The way that I view it is, one, it's a long time ago, and
Mm-hmm.
2, I just know how lonely and isolated I felt during that time in terms
Mm-hmm.
of being able to get assistance for my drug addiction. Like it felt like I couldn't stop, but I also couldn't get help because
Yeah,
there was
you
going to be
didn't
big
wanna tell
consequences.
people.
Yeah, right. But I just remember how that felt, and I felt so unique and alone in that. And so, kind of my mission, in the times that I've been well, and like substance abuse is something you have to manage, right? And but it's like I want to be the person I wish I would have had back
Yeah.
then in terms of someone just being open and being like, this is like what happened to me, and like I got better, and then like
Yeah.
18, 19-year-old me would have been like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Just giving
That's
you
just
the room
like
to
me,
share,
right?
or
Yeah.
just
So like letting
little hints of, hey, if you ever need it, I'm here.
And I think just letting people into, the psyche of like what that was actually
Mm-hmm.
like to experience. And I think it, being an addict as well, it's like a very stigmatized thing.
We have
think-
this image that they portray in movies. Like the addict
Yeah.
is like the person that you see kind of like rough, like you can tell they're using. It's like, that's not the reality.
It's
At
some of
all.
the reality, but
Some of it,
yeah, it's only
but
part. Yeah.
So many
It's,
people are functioning and
Yeah.
they live a day-to-day life, and we would have never guessed
They
that
seem-
they are using.
right. Like they seem okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a battle inside their brain that's just
yeah, for
going
sure.
every day that has to be really, really hard.
Yeah, and I also think, like, if I reflect, on that time, there were relationships that I really harmed, or trust that I lost with people because I was not able to show up, consistently, or I didn't want people to find out I had this going on. So I kind of push them away. Right.
Yeah.
And so, the behavior of an addict, it's very generally harmful to other people. Right. And it looks very, when I say selfish on the outside, and like dishonest, and like a lack of morals. And I mean, the thing about addicts too, it's like you run the whole spectrum in terms of character within that. There are people with very high character that have addiction, and people with maybe not the best character that have addiction, right? But the stigma is like it's all like a low character type of thing. So letting people into the psyche of like, it's not that I wanted to like harm people, right?
It just
or like
happened.
Lie.
It was
or be
collateral
dishonest,
damage
right?
in a way.
I just had this secret, right? And it felt necessary to keep, right? And so you have to do certain things in order to not let anything like get in the way of the fact you have this like deep, intricate relationship with the substance, right? And so I think just letting people into that psychologically too, as far as people that have been harmed by, loving an addict, it helps, I think, just to be able to understand, right? And make it very human. Right?
Yes,
and,
that you're not alone.
Yeah. And just
But
being like,
sadly,
oh,
other people might be going through that.
Yeah, it's not that they're a bad person or wanted to harm me. They're just like, they were really sick, right? And so...
It's a disease like you and I were talking about before. It's not something you choose.
Yeah.
Like, you start choosing it, but then you fall victim, in my opinion, to a disease.
For sure.
I have an interesting question for you, actually.
Oh, yeah. I can do a little of my college story, but go for it.
I love this. So I remember when I was drinking a lot, because after moving to America, I got in the industry. Okay. So I just quit.
What do you mean? What do you mean by the industry?
The industry for me is the bar scene, the restaurant scene. And I had been in it for 9 years of my life. I just quit about 4 months ago.
So are you 27, 28?
I am 28, about to be 29.
Okay.
April 1st.
I just turned 29, so.
Look at us.
Yeah.
But I remember I broke a lot of friendships, which I realized were not really stable friendships.
This is down here in Austin?
Yes.
Yeah.
From just the bar scene, and stuff like that. And I kept, like, I can count them like 4 close friendships from my times when I was drinking a lot and being not my best self. I will say that, I think I still have like 4 friendships out of like, maybe I thought I had 50, which were not really truly friendships. But I wanted to ask you, like, are you still in contact, or do you still have people from like your past when you were an addict? Days? Yeah. From like your using days that like are seeing your change that still support you, because I think that's really important to know.
For sure. I'll do like a brief like quick hitter of my journey. And so I've been kind of in and out of recovery now I'm 29 now, for the last decade really, right? There's been times that have been good and times that have been bad, and I'm a little over 8 months sober, so hopefully this time it sticks, right? But
congrats.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's gonna stick, right?
It is.
Leave this up to chance. But so I was at the University of Iowa. I did a year there, right? I then went and got help. I went to treatment, right? I then tried to come back to the University of Iowa per my family's recommendation. And like the thing about addiction too, it's like it's a family disease in the sense of it touches everyone around it, right? And it also like there's an understanding in terms of how to like communicate or think about an addict that a family doesn't have right off the bat. It's something you have to like work and go and get this knowledge. And this is something you probably can relate to. We can cut this part out if you want.
Oh, you're all good. But yeah, 100%.
You date someone, right?
Yeah.
That is sober, right?
Yes.
And so coming to an understanding of like what that means in terms of there are probably, some differences in terms of how the relationship works based on the understanding of the fact that your boyfriend's an addict.
100%.
Right. So anyways, I was at Iowa for a year, went to treatment. I tried to come back to Iowa. Didn't work.
Yeah.
There's everyone's like, don't go back to the same environment. It won't work, and blah, blah, blah. And
you got to test it sometimes.
Yeah. I was like, no, I think I'll be fine. Now I know, like, don't use, and I've already stopped. I'm not going through withdrawal really anymore, or like the acute withdrawal.
Yeah.
Went terribly, right?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. So I dropped out again. I then went back to treatment and I moved to Minnesota. Like I was in treatment and stuff.
You like the cold.
Yeah, I don't know.
Iowa, Minnesota.
Like the Twin Cities area, very interestingly, is like a amazing recovery hub.
Okay.
I think there's probably over 50,000 people that are like sober. Right,
That's
within
incredible.
the Twin Cities, right? And it's a very vibrant community and has there's many treatment facilities there, but one that's very well known, that's kind of, I would say maybe the gold standard in like the treatment industry is something called Hazelden.
Okay.
Right. So I went to Hazelden. I went to Hazelden again after I dropped to the university the second time. And then I took a year and a half off from school, and I don't know. I mean, like, I honestly wasn't sure I would be able to get a 4-year degree without stimulants, right? I was like, I don't think I can like focus or do that, without this now, right? And at the same time, I didn't think I can get a 4-year degree with stimulants because that was not going to work for me either, right?
How can I win?
Yeah, and so I took a year and a half off from school and spent a lot of time like in sober living, and I worked at a roof to deck job where I was just banging out podcasts, like so many podcasts, and like staining decks and stripping them.
Time goes by so fast.
And I'm super white, right? So it's like I'm getting sunburns, and I'm
learning some Spanish.
Yeah, I gained some weight once I came off stimulants. We had a little bit of a binge eating thing going on.
It happens.
So I'm like, dogging it on these decks, and I'm like trying to work out, and that went on for like a year and a half, and then I entered school at the University of Minnesota.
Yes.
And I moved in with a group of guys. It was like a sublet or something, and they were just like awesome, right? Like they had a lot of friends, and they had really good social lives, and they're very supportive of one another, and so I just like kind of came into this.
Found your groove.
Yeah, for sure. And it like made it hard to, what I would say, have a bad initial experience where things go too awry at the University of Minnesota. So I started at the U of M. I think too, as I went through the process of getting help, addiction-wise, I was like, if I'm not necessarily going to make it through college, I better at least be going after something I find actually interesting and that I care about. And no offense to the business world or anything, but like at the university, I was in business school, and I was just thinking about myself, like sitting there, probably balding in a loveless marriage, doing people's tax returns at 50. And being like,
this is not for me.
I'd be like, I think I would hate my life, right?
So,
drop out. And at the University of Minnesota, I'm like, I don't want to study business, but what do I want to do? And I was like, I always like science, so I did pre-med for a while.
Yes.
And then things kind of worked out in a way where I had someone encourage me to just go straight for chemistry rather than trying to be a doctor. And then I started doing research, and I was like, oh, I really like this. This is great. Like, I'm a rabbit hole person, and that's what research is.
You started and you couldn't stop.
Yeah, and at the University of Minnesota, I had some periods where, I was doing really good with my sobriety, and other periods not so good, right? So it was kind of some up and down semesters, but finished strong there. Was off stimulants for a long time. I didn't drink either. And then it was like right at the end, after I graduated the University of Minnesota, I like drank for the first time in years, right? And drinking wasn't.
How was that? I'm curious.
When I first started drinking again back then, this is like 2021. So, I knew it wasn't the best idea, and all my time in like sober living and treatment and stuff, I had a lot of conversations around. I was like, I understand that I can't take stimulants, but like, I never really had a problem with alcohol.
Yeah,
and,
like I wonder if I could dabble with that.
Yeah, like that really wasn't ever like my thing. It'd be hard for me to imagine abusing that, right?
Yeah.
And they were always like, Mitchell, no, like this is a brain disease, and if you start tampering with that, like it probably won't. It might take a bit, but it might, probably won't go the best. And anyway, so I started drinking again in 2021, and I think the thing is, my drinking wasn't a huge problem back then. It did, over 2021 to 2023, it started kind of escalating in a way where if I drank, I would tend to drink like quite a bit.
Yes.
Like, very much binging.
Yep.
And
which is a big part of the American culture. I don't want to talk poorly about America because I do love it here, I promise. However,
hot take.
I do think that over here it's so like you don't introduce it to your kids how they do, for example, in Europe or in like Hispanic cultures. And then you go to college and you're like, my parents aren't here. I'm going to do it all at once.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the culture here does not help.
Yeah.
And like
I mean, what do you do when you're like, for me, for example, when I started at the University of Minnesota, you're 21 years old.
Yes.
You have like friends that are like
everyone's
popular,
doing it,
and like that's what they do on the weekends. You go out Friday and Saturday, and it's like, what do I do as a sober guy? Am I gonna have my 35-year-old friend from like treatment like come and hang?
Yes, exactly.
Right? Like
it's really weird, and I don't know if you've noticed this. You were talking about how Minnesota was good for like sober people and like there's a lot of like a big community there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Austin with that? Because I feel like lately our generation is kind of changing.
Yeah.
And I still talk to my bar friends, of course. I need to know all the tea that's still going on, even though I'm not there. But sales are down in Austin in particular in all the bars.
I've been reading about this. There is definitely a decline. I don't know where the cutoff is generationally, but in quote unquote,
We're the change.
it's a revolution.
It does.
I think I was born on the same date where like prohibition started or ended. So
What?
warning sign.
Oh my
should have paid
goodness,
attention
that's
to that.
funny.
But Austin,
Because it's a fairly healthy city.
for
you know,
sure.
like
I
my
mean,
mom
people are
lives
crazy
here.
fit here.
Yes.
That was like my first thing when I came down to Austin. I was like, oh, fuck,
Everyone's
I gotta get in
shirtless,
shape.
walking.
Yeah.
I was talking to a neighbor the other day, and he's older. He's like, everyone has freaking abs here. Even their
It's
dogs
crazy.
have abs. And I'm like, okay, sir, calm down. And he's like, no, but it's true. Like, everyone is so healthy.
It warps your, like, it becomes very normalized here, right? You forget how
Distortion.
rare that is, like,
Yes.
in the actual population. But
We're all in a giant health kick, I feel like, in Austin, in a weird, not a weird way. I think it's lovely. I think it's beautiful. But
Yeah.
I wonder if Austin's going to be like the new hub where like people that are sober like can find a home and like communities where they can thrive in and feel comfortable.
yeah, I know generationally we're definitely drinking less. Austin, I would say, like, whatever you want to be, there is a crowd here for you, and a
1,000%.
vibrant crowd.
Yes.
If you want to go fucking crazy and party and, like,
I know a bar
be
too.
at the concourse and the bars
Yes.
and, I don't know, taking DMT with, like, a practitioner on the weekends. And if you want to do that, there's a crowd for you here.
1,000%.
For sure. If you want to be sober, there's also a crazy crowd here, right? Where I look at my Strava or I show up to whatever that
Yes.
Yellow Jackets track is on a
Yes,
Tuesday.
good pain.
And it's like everyone is like, you know, just in incredible shape.
Yes.
They're taking DMT on the weekends or something that would be unimaginable in terms of how
They're
they're
happy
living their
and
lives.
healthy.
Right. And
Which
so-
is something that I used to think people faked. All these people that I saw being so happy when I was drinking a lot, because I also struggled
yeah.
a little bit with maybe drinking a little too much and
Yeah.
not being a good person when that happened. I was
Yeah.
a little aggressive,
Right.
not
Yeah.
gonna lie. But I think
Same here, so.
I used to think that people were like faking it. And then I would take it kind of personal in a way, like, oh, these
Kinda
people
makes
think
you
they're
mad.
better than me.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember they would come up to the bar with their perfect little lives, and I was pissed serving them. And I would be like grumpy and
Like resentful.
yes,
right?
and
Yeah.
I remember I was like, when things started changing, like I'm carrying so much resent towards people that look happy because I think it's fake. And now that I'm like in this new lifestyle, I'm like, oh my God, I'm one of those annoying people that I used to not like.
Yeah.
But it is truly the happiest I have been.
Yeah.
And I think I stopped drinking for a long time because I needed to find my relationship with alcohol.
Let's get
Yes.
timeline here.
Yes.
So people
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So it was 2024 August. I remember I woke up one day so freaking sad. I could not stop crying. And
Yeah.
I was trying to call my sister on FaceTime and the words would not even come out.
Yeah.
And it was a mix of being hungover, 1,000%, because I would wake up every day hungover because I worked 5 to 6 times a week.
And you always drank when you worked.
And I would drink 7 shots a shift,
Yeah.
no matter what. And then I would stay out and party because that was normal because everyone was doing it. So we didn't think we had a problem. I would have these moments where I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Like, but then all my friends are doing it. So I
How long-
think we're fine.
How long was like this phase for you?
Oh man, it was about 2 years
Okay.
in Austin. But then in Missouri, I was doing the same stuff. I'm not going to lie, for
Yeah.
at least 2 years as well. So probably 4 years of my life, just like drinking heavily to the point where I would wake up hungover 5 to 6 times a week.
Yeah. That's a
And
lot. Yeah.
It was a lot, and I thought it was
I've also
great.
been there. I get it. Yeah.
Yes, and it's just part of your life, and you're just like, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then I remember that day I woke up so sad, and I had all these like existential thoughts, like, what am I doing with life? Do I have goals? Where am I headed? How many friendships have I broken the past God knows how long?
Yeah.
And one of my good friends had just pulled me aside one day because I got drunk and I was being really mean. And he's like, you need to look in the mirror. This is not the person I met. I know you're sweet. I know you're a good person. But when you drink,
Yeah.
all this hate comes out.
Yeah.
And I have no idea where it comes out of, but I'm not going to keep receiving it.
For sure. That's
And
a
it
good
broke my
friend.
heart.
Yeah.
Like, to think that I could lose a friendship that I valued so much from someone that I truly respected, because he was so disciplined. He is really disciplined.
Yeah.
And it's really empowering to meet someone that's so disciplined and that has their shit together. You know,
in a way, like, probably socially, right? There's no like I'm here and there's there, but someone you look up to, right?
Yes, in a way, I was like, man, maybe in a new life. And I kept thinking, like, I'm never going to be that person, but how cool is it that he can be that person?
Right.
And after we had that, like, little argument, I would say, like, we created distance. And I remember it was like everything kind of fell into place in a way. And it felt like my world was crumbling. And I had, like, an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Who am I?
True bottom.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I kept pissing my whole family off. Like, I couldn't even talk to my mom, my dad. My sister hated hanging out with me.
Yeah.
And I thought they were the problem, of course. I'm
Yeah.
never going to point the finger at myself.
The mind tries to protect
Oh,
you,
man.
right? It keeps trying to tell you, like, somehow this is okay.
You tell
it's not
yourself
my
so
problem, it's
many
not my problem.
lies to protect yourself
Yeah.
because you're scared.
For sure. Like, if you truly had to confront the honesty of the situation, right, your brain would be like, I cannot
What the
handle all
heck?
this. Yeah.
And it's so embarrassing and it's so shameful. Kind of when I was reading your article, it was like I did not want to admit it to my closest friends because it's so embarrassing.
And it, like, there's no going back, right? It's
No.
going to change people's perception.
Oh
of
God!
you,
Once you open
right?
that door, like everyone's gonna know.
Yeah.
You know. So I remember that day. I called my neighbor we used to be super close. I don't know what happened. Whatever. But I called her and she came over and I'm like, I need to do something. So I grabbed literally one of these notebooks. I
This
brought
is
my
Oc-
first journal.
This is October 2024.
So this is actually a year prior to that because you know how you have those moments of illumination
Oh, yeah.
in your journey where it's like, I think I can make a change, and then it never happens.
Right.
And then I think I'm gonna make a change.
The number of times I
Oh my
tried
God.
to quit before, like, asking for help, just,
Yes.
and it's, oh, man, it just wrecks you internally because there's no confidence to be had, right?
Yeah.
When you feel terrible and you're trying to change something and you just keep failing at it, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, geez. Like,
And that's why saying it out loud, I think, is the most important part. Because this time I finally said it out loud and said it to friends and family. Like, something's got to change.
this is 2023.
This
or
was 2024.
Okay.
2023, I would never tell anyone. I was like, I'm going to change this by myself, not tell anyone, then show up as my
For
best,
sure. You
best
don't want to
self.
pay the price of it.
And you
right?
think it's going to be fast, you know, and it's not going to be fast.
Yeah.
And I think you and I were talking about this, how we always think it's like phases, like a gym phase, you know? How many times did I ever start a gym phase in college where I was like, okay, I'm going to start to work out.
Yeah.
Slowly fades away. Okay, I'm going to start to eat healthy. Okay, I'm going to start to drink less.
Yeah.
But it never sticks.
What does it take to stick, right? Yeah.
Yes, and I think for it to stick is you got to be honest and you have to admit that things are not working out.
Yeah.
So in 2024, I sat down and I wrote down how my next 2 weeks were going to look like. Just 2 weeks, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, start small.
Yep.
See what happens. If you can't do 2 weeks, then we have a real problem. And I'm really competitive with myself. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's try to use this competitiveness for something good.
Yeah.
And I organized going to the gym. That's how I started training at Correct, where you used to work at, or still work, sorry.
On it.
On it, my bad. On it. But I signed up for a 2-week trial at a new gym. I said I was going to eat healthy. I said I was going to drink less.
Yep.
Quotes.
Harm reduction.
Yes. And then I did it for 2 weeks and I felt so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I kind of like this. So I organized another 2 weeks. And that's literally how it all started.
Yeah.
It was just by sitting down and organizing. And a thing that really helped me stop drinking, because at first I was kind of drinking less, is every time I would drink, I wrote it in a notebook. I would write how many drinks I had. And at the end of the week, I would count those and be like, this week I had 14 drinks. And I was like, okay, next week I can do less for sure.
Just a little less.
And
Yeah.
I didn't take it like people want change now and they want the quick fix. And that is not the reality.
Yeah.
Things take time,
It's
especially
like this
good
messy
things.
journey. You fail,
Yes.
you fail, and then you like start getting a little bit more.
A little
right?
bit, it's small steps with things like addiction, with things like changing your life so drastically. It's not just going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
You got to work for it because it's at the end of the day, it's for the rest of your life. If you really want to make a big change,
For
it's
sure.
forever. It's
Yeah.
not just for the maybe 1 week and I'll behave and then I'm cool.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, yeah, the thing about something like addiction, right? It's it doesn't go away. It's just there in the background, right?
Always.
Waiting.
No
you
matter
know,
what.
Like if I were to take a stimulant,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is no telling when this will stop,
Yep.
right? In terms of the thinking that goes on around it, right? Might be fine for a day, and then I might quit for 2 days, but I'm gonna be thinking about it, right? And it's like I get in this trap where I can't quite get out, right?
Yes.
Without external assistance, right? And so when, this is kind of a particular question,
Yes.
but when exactly did you start coming to like On It?
The day after I wrote down that I was going to start taking care of myself, it was August 2024.
Okay, gotcha. The reason I ask is, so I came to Texas temporarily beginning in October 2024.
Wow.
Right? And I started working On It, right? And then I saw you there, and obviously I didn't know a lot about you. I could see that you were working out and stuff, and you know how it works in Austin and On It. You follow each other like on social media.
100%.
Right?
We're all friends.
Yeah. And I see you start sharing and like that you're going through this transformation,
Yes.
right? And I think we might have had like a few, you know,
Couple interactions here and there. Yes.
that were like depthful but not super long, right? Where I got little.
We've
pieces.
always been like that. It's always like 5 minutes, but we go deep.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like we're diving into this.
Yeah, we're like skipping all the pretense. So
Yes, that's funny. Yeah, I'd been already doing it for at least 3 months.
yeah, and you know, I came down here. I wasn't exactly on a winning streak when I came down here temporarily, and so I start seeing you go through this transformation of, like you were working in a bar and things weren't going the best,
Yeah.
right? And then you like started stopping drinking, and you're like working out, and you're like finding these passions and ways of expressing yourself where you seem so much happier than wherever you had come from before
100%.
I had any exposure to you. And so I watched this. That sounds super creepy, but
No.
I noticed this. Yeah. There's something called. Actually, we're not gonna do that. That would be too much of a tangent. So I see this, and I'm down here temporarily from October 2024 until February 2025. And I'm kind of watching you, and then I
Yeah.
go back to the East Coast, right? And I was mostly sober during my time temporarily in Austin. And when I went back to the East Coast, for reasons I won't get into, I relapsed horribly, right? Like just drinking and just really bad, and so much like anger and resentment, and it was just really not going well out there. And I really hit a bottom, right, where I was supposed to return to this PhD program, and I was like, I just can't do this, right?
Yeah.
Like I cannot. So I decided to take my master's, right? And once I took my master's, I had no idea like what my next step was, because I had banked on for so long this idea like I'm going to stay at Brown for years and years, and I'm going to get my PhD, right? And here I am with my master's with no plan, like no money, can't stay sober. I'm like, back in Iowa, like
You're like, what
living
am
at my
I
parents'
gonna
place
do
for a couple
next?
weeks, and just like not doing well, right? I have no aim or purpose or, you know, idea of like,
You feel
what direction.
stuck in a way when you're in those situations.
Yeah. And so I was drinking, and like I said, addiction's a progressive disease, right? So I was like drinking every day and just completely aimless. And last time I drank, that's quite a dramatic story. So I drank, I don't know what happened, right? I come to, this is like June 10th of 2025. I'm in a cornfield, okay? I'm like, where am I?
Yeah.
I don't have my phone, right? I have some vague recollection that like I put a car in the ditch somewhere around, but I don't see it, right? My jeans, my most favorite jeans are, I can't describe
Destroyed.
you. My tailored most favorite jeans are
Oh,
like
my goodness.
ripped. I'm like, did I decide to sleep here, or did I just pass out?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, it's scary. I'm like, I don't even know what happened.
Yes.
Right?
The unknown.
So I started trying to orient myself. I know I'm somewhere on like the outskirts of Iowa City, but I'm not exactly sure where I'm at. And eventually, after like walking around a lot, and I find my way back to my parents' house, right?
Wow.
And you know, in the days leading up to this is like a 2-week stretch where I was just like really, really not doing well. I'd been telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, like, you know, I'm like really sick. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And I'd been so hesitant to return to treatment because it had been 8 years, right, since I had been to treatment. And I thought I'd like.
Do you think it was like taking a step back? Maybe that's why you were so hesitant, or
yeah, and
was
you
it
also,
the
I mean,
fear?
having been to treatment is such a unique experience, but you know what it means to go back to treatment, right? Like
You got to take it serious.
Yeah, and you're going to be completely removed from your normal life for a month, and you're just going to be with strangers, right? And you're going to have to go through withdrawal, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of like hard conversations, right, and stuff like that. And so you know what it means. And so I always like, I'm like, I don't, you know, you try to avoid having to go back to treatment. Like I'm asking for help, but I don't want to go that far, right? And somewhere in those 2 weeks, I don't even remember this, but apparently I had called a treatment center. And they're like,
So your subconscious was ready.
yeah, I don't know. Addiction's real weird.
Yeah.
There's different parts of yourself. But I had called a treatment center, done a full like phone intake. They're like, yes, sir. Like, you definitely have a problem. You should come here, right? And
Yeah.
so after waking up in the cornfield, it was like 2 days after that. That's when I went to treatment.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was really my bottom, right? And I went to treatment for a month.
Yeah.
And treatment's very different at 28 than it is at 19. You have a lot more life, not that there's plenty more life experience to get, but I had a lot more life experience and also just like wisdom, recovery wise, and just knowledge of like what I was dealing with. And also though, addiction is progressive, right? My addiction at 28, it's a little more tough to deal with than it was never easy to deal with,
At
right?
a
But it's more
younger
complicated at 28. And so I go to treatment for a month and I come out, I still don't know what I'm going to do, right? I've severed my ties with Brown. I took my master's. And I was like, I was down in Texas temporarily. Like life was going like pretty well down there,
yeah.
right? So I'm going to go back down there. And when I came back down here, not that I knew you well, but I had been watching you like undergo this transformation, right? In terms of what you were doing and how you were expressing yourself. And you just seemed like super vibrant and full of life and like things were going well. And I was like, I don't necessarily want the life that Casey has, right? Like I there are some things that I want that would be different, but I was like, look at what she's done in the time that you've known her from October 2024 until, summer 2025.
Wow.
I was like, look at what she's done. And she did like all that in a year. Like, what could you do, right? If you just stay sober and just apply yourself and try your best and just like see what happens. And so I want to thank you for that. And I also think like
It makes me emotional. Really. It's just beautiful.
I'm really like
Crazy.
serious too, in the sense of I think a lot of times as I've been like making content or doing things, I don't know, we doubt ourselves, right? And think that what we do doesn't matter, and that it's like not worth the time and energy and the stress of trying to do stuff like that. But I think like the example of me, being inspired and being like, there's like a template, right? Of like, you could probably do that. It just like goes to show, I think, that we affect others with what we do in ways, we just wouldn't expect.
We have no idea.
Right. The ways that we touch others, right? That are just kind of in our orbit, even if we're not close to them or talking to them all the time. And so I thought about that a lot, to be honest. Which is kind of like odd. Like you would never know, right? That here I am coming from the East Coast and over to Minnesota and traveling down to Texas and being like, Casey Toural, like she changed her life.
That's
a lot,
amazing.
Right?
That's crazy to think. Like it's so cool that I was able, because I used to think I would never be that person at all, you know, like ever, because I had my fair share of having my crazy nights, maybe never waking up in a cornfield, but
and I've got other stories,
breaking my hand, something bad happened, like just, it's crazy because like when I started sharing my journey, I thought for me it was more like keeping myself accountable in a way. You know how when you start journaling, you can keep yourself accountable. And then I started sharing it because I figured like, if I keep sharing with the world what I'm going through, even if it's one person, and I started receiving like just small messages like, hey, keep it up. And then the messages were more. And people being like, hey, I see your transformation. I'm thinking about like not drinking, or I'm thinking about trying high rocks. I'm thinking about kickboxing. Yeah. And it's crazy because the more you dive into taking care of yourself, the more you start falling in love with it.
Yeah, for sure.
And
it gets like,
it's
get
addictive.
Like momentum on it.
I'm kidding. No, that was bad.
Are you kidding?
But no. We are switching addictions. But my point is, like I always tell people from the bar scene, this is still related, hear me out. People at the bar scene are like, oh, you're pretty. You're so pretty. But then to me, my favorite compliment is, I like your energy. I like how much you smile. I like the vibe. Those words to me carry so much power. And that's something that I never started experimenting till I actually changed my life. And it was like, I don't just see you physically. Like I see through you and I see how you make me feel,
Yeah.
which to me is something beautiful. And that's something that when you hang out with certain people, they make you feel good and you want to keep hanging out with them because like they just give you this like energy that like revitalizes you and it makes you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was like my favorite thing that I started learning. Like, I don't care. I can be single for the rest of my life. But like if I can make people
She's
feel,
gone dormant. Yeah.
I know, if I can make people just feel like 1/4 of what I get to feel every day when I'm happy. Because I know we all have good in us. You know, even people going through addictions, you see their bad side. And like I said, I was not an angel. I hurt a lot of people.
Same.
But coming back, I feel like now it's my part to be this like person that cheers other people on. And I want to be in everyone's corner. Because like if you have a good heart, like you deserve to go and live your best life.
I mean, most people are generally good, right? Like there's that quote, the line between good and evil runs through the heart of every man, right? There's the ways in which we can be bad, but like, and there's also the quote, most of the evil in the world is done by good people, right?
Yes.
So,
And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. We all have mess ups, you know? I'm still not perfect. I don't think I'll ever be. You know, we're all going to keep learning and making mistakes. And this is something that I was just actually journaling about the other day because I'm training people. I'm a coach now.
Yeah.
And it's still such a new thing. And I second out myself in this new chapter in life. You know, just like when I started to be a different person and becoming a different person, you second out yourself.
so you've entirely left the bar scene in terms of
Completely
employment,
out of it.
right? And
Yes.
as as your life has changed,
Transition to
yeah.
a
So now
place
you're
I
like
never
a
thought I'd be.
fitness coach. I don't know if I would say influencer,
No.
but like a
If I influence you in a good way, yes. If not, no, that's on me.
Probably too strong of a term. I know the associations that come
But
with
yeah,
that,
no, I
but-
think I'm navigating now this new role in my life, this new chapter where I get to help women, not only physically, but also mentally.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fitness coach. I'm going to, hopefully we start getting a little more tone, but also it's the change in confidence that I've been seeing my girls get. And it makes me so happy that I can be that person, you know, like the woman I met like in October who I started training to the woman who she is now, like there has been such a change in her brain.
Yeah.
Like it is magical to witness.
For sure.
And I love that.
You know, when I say if you see someone that's been struggling and then they get well, just the way
They
that
shine.
they carry themselves.
Yes.
It's like you're interacting with a different person.
It's
right?
like when they say like you're glowing and
Yeah.
you do see that in people,
I know, it's
especially
the most amazing thing. To see it
right?
too. Yeah, it's like,
You're like, God, there's like a little like light behind you, you know,
Yeah.
but it's true because you've seen these people go through like they didn't really like where they were at.
and it's also
And not everyone that I'm coaching, obviously, but some people come from a dark place where they weren't happy with. A lot of people want accountability more than anything. They want to feel supported through a journey. Well, like some people can start at a gym and like they fall in love with the community and they keep going. Some people need more accountability and they need you to cheer for them.
Yeah.
And I love this. I mean, I'll be your personal cheerleader. That's part of I love it. I am so here for it, you know?
I've
like
never had you cheerlead for me, but you would be a good cheerleader for sure.
I did gymnastics, so I can be athletic.
Yeah.
But I think that's the beautiful part. But I also second out myself a little bit sometimes, you know, self-imposter syndrome will happen.
Yeah,
will
what's
arise.
that been like? Because you've gone from
So odd.
I imagine, a very social person working in a bar
Yes.
setting to like you're public facing now, right? With a lot
Yes.
of information. Some of it's like vulnerable, but so there's
Yeah.
also like it's like positive and like here's what I'm up
I have
to.
no
but
idea what I'm doing. I'll tell you that. Like I put it out there, and if it works, it works. You know.
Have you ever had any where you post it and you're like, you get like scared of like,
1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to share something hopefully next week, and it's about how becoming a coach and stepping into a role where you want to lead does not mean I have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Leaders don't have it all figured out. They just have maybe like the personality to take that on that leadership role. It does not mean that I'm perfect. It does not mean that I don't have to make mistakes, that I don't suffer from anxiety, setbacks. That's normal. That's going to happen everywhere in life. Your therapist doesn't have life figured out. Sure. Your doctor doesn't have it all figured out. Like we always think, it's like when you're growing up and your parents are like superheroes to you.
Oh yeah.
And then you learn that they're humans and you start learning that and it kind of hurts
They
at
have
first.
their
Like,
shortcomings. They have like the things that
Yes.
they don't know anything about.
yes,
right?
like
Yeah.
they kind of disappoint you. And for a brief second, you're like, dang it, I thought my parents were perfect. But then you start learning that, God damn it, they're doing life for the first time too. They're humans, and it kind of makes them more human to you. It's not like that you don't put them in a pedestal anymore, which they still are in a way, but they don't have everything figured out, and that is okay.
Yeah, it becomes beautiful in a way, like to see how they handle the fact that they don't have everything figured out. Right?
And I think that's something that I'm learning through this experience of stepping into different roles and stepping into whatever chapter is next for me, that I don't have to be perfect. This is just, I'm figuring it out. And as I'm growing, people are growing with me too, which I think is something beautiful.
Yeah.
So but some days you wake up and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then it takes me to wake up, take my dog out, brush my teeth. I'm like, never mind, I got this.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen to you?
For sure. I mean, I'm a little behind exactly your schedule, right? I'm probably a year, hopefully, I just keep doing what I'm doing, but maybe a year behind you. But as I've gotten more public facing, it's not like I have some large following or anything, but when I post stuff, it freaks me the fuck out.
Right?
For sure. I'm like, oh, fuck.
I'm always scared someone's going to come after me. I don't know what it is, and it's never happened. Exactly. I have no idea or what they would have to say.
I have this deep irrational fear. I talk about this in therapy. I'm like, I don't know. Like they might get me.
I'm scared.
Yeah. It's almost like a paranoia of some sort.
It is, but how cool is it to think that like no matter if they come for you or not, like just imagine like you're doing good stuff.
Yeah.
So you should
like
not
I know
be
my
scared.
intentions with it.
Exactly.
Right?
So and that's what I try to remind myself. Like I'm just trying to spread good stuff, and I'm just trying to talk about topics that to me might be a little vulnerable, just to see if someone can relate.
Yeah, I think a lot about. Actually, there was something else. I'll come back to it, but this idea of like when you become more public facing, of like people, whatever you do, people are gonna talk.
No matter what.
No matter what you do. Right.
Even if I'm sitting down at home, they're still going to talk. Like, I don't even have to put myself out there.
And no matter what I do, if I'm like interfacing with the world, there's going to be people, right, that, I don't 100% like jive with or get along with, or not my favorite people. And I'll have that happen to me as well.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Right.
And learning that is really hard at first.
Yeah.
Because I used to be someone that just wanted everyone to love me no matter what. I'm like, you're going to be my friend. Yeah. You're going to like me.
Yeah.
It's not reality. I'm sorry, but it is just not real.
It doesn't work that way. And but like coming to terms with that, and then it's like if you post stuff, there are going to be people that view it in a way which does not align at all with what your intentions, right, of what you're trying to convey, right? But at the end of the day, like I can only control like my intention and what I put out there.
Yes.
I can't control what other people do with that. And
and everyone is living in their own world. We're just side characters in their world. I was just talking to my dad on my way here about this. Like, if I'm having a bad day and you post something and I'm having a bad negative day, your actions are going to come to my brain through like this terrible like cloud, like, oh, this is just stupid. Like I'm just going to be mad about it, and I'm just going to find reasons. He just wants
attention, right? Like,
yes.
He ran a half marathon.
But if I'm having a great day and you do something, I might be like, oh, yay, go. Like, so I think we all need to be a little more self-aware to stop judging everyone. Everyone's on their own journey. Don't stop worrying about them. Worry about yours.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just like, are they hurting me, right? And, they just let people be people.
Exactly. I think something that also helps me whenever I'm like a little too mean to myself, in my brain, sometimes like we talk negatively to ourselves, and I have a younger sister.
Let's pause on this real quick. So this type of negative thinking and being, you strike me as someone that's pretty hard on yourself, right?
Oh, bad.
And I can relate to that a lot, right? I think I've always been that way as well.
Yeah.
My question is like, I think I was that way even as a kid, even before I was an addict or anything. It's like being unfair or like just really hard on myself in terms of like the bar I was expecting, right?
Yes.
And that preceded my addiction, but I guess I'm curious for you, like if that has also been kind of a consistent theme, even like in your
forever
early
and always. I think from a very young age, I always put all this extra pressure on myself to perform well. Yeah. And I remember when I started going to therapy at 14, that topic kept coming out.
Mine didn't happen until I was like 19. So.
There have been like, I'd go for a year, then stop, then go back, stop. Yeah. Everyone needs a therapist. Why not? It's good to just talk it out. And
I'd say mental health resources in small town Iowa not communicated well.
Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine.
It was like, you just don't.
Suck it up, buttercup, move on.
You just don't talk about those things.
Yeah.
Like, you just, if it sucks, like, shut the fuck up and get on with it.
Keep
right?
moving
So,
forward. And I
yeah.
think it's good to just even unpack what's going on in our heads. Like I had a friend who was dealing with a little bit of a like depressive episode not that long ago.
Sure.
And
We all have a friend, usually many friends, right?
that are just
People
going
go
through
through
it,
stuff,
you know,
right?
and
Yeah.
it's episodes of life. Like life is, like I say, it's always ups and downs and ups and downs. And we just got to do the best to stay in the middle
Yeah.
and not let the ups affect us too much. Like, we can be happy, but also like be
Become
realistic.
skilled sailors of our seas. right?
Yes, like you got to get used to like. There was this saying that was like the storms are going to keep happening, but we are in charge. Like we're sailors, and
Yeah, a smooth sea never makes a skilled sailor, right?
thank you. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But it was like I remember her talking to her, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I've distanced myself. I just don't know how to act." I'm like, let's just talk it out. Like it doesn't mean we're gonna find the solution to your problem,
For sure.
but just putting it out there
Yeah.
might make it more manageable.
Yeah, I like for me, writing and talking with something with another person, what it does for me is like in my head, I'll have all these things that I'm worried about or anxious about or this or that. And it's kind of just like this swirling cloud where
Yeah,
the overall like sum of it, you're like, oh my God.
it's heavy
right?
too.
Right. But then when I like write it out or if I share it with another person, it makes the issues become right sized and I can
Yes.
actually begin to see like, this isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just like one little small cloud over here that we're going to have to deal with. Right. But it's not, there's organization. It's not
Yeah.
this swirling mess anymore.
And
I
it kind
can
of takes up
actually-
space when it's just here, just
Yeah.
festering, you
I
know,
w-
and it's
I
kind
was-
of like affecting other parts that are still floating in your head. And it's like once you kind of remove it, it's still in there, but now it makes sense and it's more like I can actually deal with it. It seems
And
less
I can track
of a
it,
big-
right? Like the thing
Yes.
about writing in particular that I love is one, it really helps me figure out what do I think.
Yeah.
I think in general, this also applies to me, but we just operate in our life so many times where you like hear something, right? Like the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime
Yeah.
show was amazing, right? And someone has a take about people sleeping in two chairs, right?
Yeah.
And then I hear that and I go to the next person and I just like regurgitate
Yes.
this information that someone else gave me,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not actually, that's what someone else thinks. What do I think?
Yes.
Right? And so writing really helps me figure out, what do I think, not just what have I heard.
Yep.
And I also think too, like, that swirling mess and getting it down to paper, like what's so valuable about writing is you can literally retrace, here are my exact thoughts on this thing.
Yes.
Right.
And here are my patterns. I think that's something super important that when you
Yeah.
start journaling and seeing, like, it's evidence that, like, sometimes when you fall sad, maybe you start seeing certain patterns that maybe one thing triggered it, or maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe after I have a good day with my friends, I'm happy for 3 days afterwards. Like, you start seeing all these patterns on how you work and how you communicate.
Like
and
studying
how,
yourself, right?
Yes, it's like, okay, I can be my own therapist. It's really interesting. And I think journaling has a lot of power. And I always tell everyone to do it. I'm like, you should journal,
amazing.
you should journal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
I know,
have to
I've
be
got,
that hard.
Right here, this was
Do you have
my
one
journal
there?
from when I was 19, going through treatment and stuff, and
That's
getting sober.
So, isn't it crazy to go back and read it too?
Yeah, it's like 8,
it-
9 years ago. You can see I wasn't in good shape, but like, I'm writing out my fitness things for the day.
That's so
and
cool.
what I'm
I've always
worried
been a
about.
writer, and it always has to be pen and paper. There's something special about that that's
ma-
not in a computer or
Yeah.
on my phone.
How I think about it too is writing on like a computer and stuff, or like dictating.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, right? But when I write on a computer, I can get that out much quicker than like by hand.
Yes.
And that it's not necessarily worse, but if you're writing by hand,
Mm-hmm.
right, my rate of getting the thought out is slower, and therefore the like processing intervals of my brain
Yeah.
are different than when I'm writing it fast. So there's going to be different things that come out depending if I'm writing it or typing it. right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I'm thinking at a different pace. And
I also write funnier in my journals. I think it's more like I'm just having a conversation with myself.
Yeah.
So it's very like narrative, like it's just like conversational.
For
and then
sure.
on the laptop, I feel like I kind of go a little corporate.
I see.
You know?
Like professional. right?
Yes.
Like I'm Cassandra Toural.
Yes, and it's like, no, this is Casey. Casey's cussing in her journals, you know. Casey's putting little stars, F star 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 star, you know,
the best
like
is like a terrible day, and you look at your journal from a time you were like feeling really good, and you're like,
yes.
fuck this person.
Yes, it sometimes doesn't even make sense. It's just like
Yeah.
I just write happy words sometimes. Like you never know what you're gonna journal, but I think that's
sure.
the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's for you.
One thing I think that's really cool too is, we all have these things, right, that happened in our past or relationships that went awry where it's like it just doesn't quite sit with you, and it's not something that's active, but it's something you're still carrying around
Thinking
a bit,
about.
right? And something about the process of like, and this is something that happens a lot in recovery, is this idea of like making amends, right?
Yeah.
But writing down like, here's what's bothering me,
Yeah.
right? Here's why it's bothering me.
Yes.
Here's how it like affects me. Is it like my pride? Is it my ego?
Yeah.
Is it like these types of things, right? And then figuring out, and yes, it bothers me, but like, what's my
Why
part
is
in
it
this?
bothering you though?
Why, why is it bothering me?
It's like
And also-
dissecting something.
and also, it takes two to tango, right? I'm not.
Yeah.
You don't always need to blame yourself, but like, do I have a part
Yeah.
in what occurred here, right? And identifying that,
Yes.
right? And then talking about that with someone else, right?
That's really interesting because that's something that, like, whenever, for example, I was drinking, I don't know if you can relate, like, you're just impulsive at all times. So
Oh.
you're just going.
Your
and then
impulse control just.
Oh my God.
Mine is like broke if I'm not sober.
out the window. There's
Yeah.
no, like, self-control
So
at all.
bad, yeah.
So it's like once you start taking it slow, and for example, like journaling, it's like I used to stop and be like, okay, this bothered me. But I'm like, why is it bothering me?
Yeah.
Where is this coming from?
Right.
Like, is
Like,
this
what's the
young
root of this?
Casey that's kind of like butthurt because something happened in her past, that this is kind of like resembling that situation?
Yeah.
Is this because I feel like my character might be attacked? Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to,
Like lower. I want to be careful with the term trauma, just in the sense of like,
yes,
that term. I don't want to go too far into this, but like
Mm-hmm.
someone gets, I don't know, shot and loses a limb or
Yeah.
something. Like, we need a term that's really strong that indicates like something super severe happened, right?
Yes.
And it shouldn't be the same as these like little butthurt incidences
Yes.
as a kid, but we use this word.
yes.
So I would say like
It's a hard one. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%.
lower T
Yeah.
trauma, but yeah, also the thing that's really
Traumatic
interesting.
event. Yeah, I don't even know what we can
It's
say.
like these, I don't know, micro traumas or
Yeah.
something, right? But
Micro
the
traumas,
really
yes.
interesting thing about trauma
Yeah.
is it's cumulative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't actually process and deal with it, and you get something later on that kind of strikes that same
Yeah.
nerve trauma-wise, right? You can eventually hit a threshold, right,
Yeah.
where it crosses over into something like PTSD finally, right? If you don't deal with these.
You're just carrying it with you
micro-trauma.
for the rest of your life. It's that
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
baggage you bring in, you know?
I very much view people too as like we're just jars, right? And jars can only be so full. And
Yeah.
so if I have these like things from the past that are bothering me, or
Yeah.
like things, like a bill that's late that comes to mind, like, oh fuck, you gotta pay that, right?
Procrastinating is the worst.
It keeps my jar
Yes.
full. And what happens when a jar gets too full? Things spill out. And so
Yeah.
I view that as like, if my jar is too full, right, I'll start, perhaps showing up selfishly in relationships, or
Yeah.
being like, I don't know, not the nicest all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like slacking at work, right? These like bad things start
Yeah.
coming out of the jar. So it's my duty, right, to take care of these like little things that are bothering me and get my life set up in a way where my jar isn't so full and it actually has space, and that space then I can like give to others.
Give to
right?
others, yeah, and show up as your best version.
Yeah.
Which I think that was something really interesting that you and I kind of discussed. Like, what do you think is like your greatest quality now in this new version that you have?
Yeah, tell me.
And I think I was really thinking about this because I used to be so wishy-washy just because I never knew if I was going to be too drunk or too hungover.
You
I was
can't
not
count on
reliable.
yourself,
No.
right? Yeah.
And now I've gained
I
that
totally get that.
confidence
It's
that I'm
horrible,
like,
yeah.
now I can count on myself. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to show up and like
yeah.
crush it too.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to show up. It's going to be good.
For sure.
So I think I could say that my love and my friendships and the time I'm being so intentional with what I do that I show up as my best version to all those people, and I am reliable.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the best quality. Because even my mom kind of mentioned this the other day, because I'd always say I was going to go have lunch with her, and then I'd never show up.
Yeah.
And I had a giant list of excuses, and I would just throw them.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I love that now we get to actually see each other and you actually make it to lunch.
For sure.
I'm like, wow, I had no idea. I was like, I knew deep down that I wasn't too reliable, but I did not know how much it was affecting others.
Yeah. No, it's
And it's not even showing up to lunch. It's showing up as a friend. It's showing up as
yeah.
like partners too.
hard to explain to like how good it feels when you're like, no, like I can count on myself. I know I'll be there, and
Yes.
like I'll be okay.
Yes.
Right? And if that's been taken away somehow, when you get that back, you're just like, no, like
Yeah.
I'm solid, right?
Yes.
And what else was I gonna say? Another thing that I think that we're getting at a little bit is, I love this idea of, if you like what you have, in order to keep it, you have to give it away, right? So this is like you coaching, right? And trying to help other women, right? You're like, I like what I have now.
Yeah.
Right? And if I want to keep this, I have
want
to
to
keep
spread
giving
the
this.
love.
Right. Yeah. It's like this, you have to, find these symbiotic relationships,
Yes.
right? Where you're giving what you already have.
Because
right?
I think
And then you get to
also
keep it.
in this new path that I took of choosing myself and choosing to make wiser decisions and stuff like that, I met people throughout that road that made it easier on me. I met a lovely community when I first started at On It.
We call this who luck.
Oh, okay.
Who did you run into that you were really lucky, right?
Yeah, and they changed everything because they started trusting me, this new version that I was still not it, but I wanted to be that version of myself that was better. And I was not pretending, but working towards being this version. I don't think it's fake it till you make it. I think it's keep showing up, and eventually you're going to trust yourself enough that you are that version.
Yeah.
So I was meeting all these awesome people that were just so inspiring and like trusted me. And I was like, wait, these people trust me. How cool is that? Because they didn't know my past version. They didn't know
For sure.
how shitty I was sometimes,
For me, yeah, like when, I like look around at my life right now, we're still kind of putting everything back together. But when I have like relationships where I'm like, oh yeah, like they trust me. It's like, I'm like,
Yes.
oh, it's like amazing. right?
Like
Or,
back in the day, I didn't care about that trust because I was selfish and I was
Yeah.
like, whatever, they'll come back. But now it's like, no, I want to take care of these friendships and
No,
I
it's
want to take care of
beautiful.
these relationships
Yeah.
because they're trusting me and that makes you trust yourself even more.
For sure. Yeah.
Especially at the beginning of a journey of such like self-discovery and
Yeah.
change.
So, one thing I was thinking about, so like I'm working at this gym, right? You're like changing. And so I'm like noticing this, but like what was this period like for you as you were changing? I know you mentioned, some imposter syndrome and
Yes.
stuff like that. And
I'm going to be super honest. It was really freaking lonely.
yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I had so many nights where I would get in bed and know that I was doing everything right, but I would feel
Like it just hadn't paid off. yet.
lonely. And
Yeah.
I knew that, how do you say, like I knew it was coming up to be that perfect life that I always wanted, but I knew that I just had to keep going. There was something in me that knew that even though it wasn't like, I didn't know it was going to turn out good, but I had this feeling inside of me that if I just kept working on myself, I was going to keep attracting good stuff and
Yeah.
build the life that I wanted. But I remember sometimes I'd call my dad, I'm like, man, I just trained. I went to do this. I'm doing so much. I met new friends. This is great. And then I start crying. I'm like, but I feel so alone. And it was such a weird feeling because,
Well, it's like you're on this journey that you're on,
yes,
right? But you can't really like explain it well to others.
You
You're
can't,
like, here's
'cause
where I'm trying to
it's like
get,
so
but-
abstract. It's like I can't even put it into words.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to say no to a lot of friendships. Like a lot of times, hey, come out. No, I'm not going to go out. I need to go to bed at 9 because I'm
That was
waking
gonna be a
up.
question I asked you.
at
Like, along
5:45.
this journey, like, well, we'll keep talking about, what that's been like for you internally, but like
Mm-hmm.
the sacrifices that come with like a big amount of change in a short time. right?
Yes, it's wild because you start saying no to everything that people just didn't even like. I was always the life of the party. I'd always be the one that after a bar shift, let's go get drunk.
Yeah.
And I stopped being that. And to me, the hardest part was leaving from the bar to my car after every shift. My
Yeah.
car was parked right in front of the bar, but it was those
Yeah, because you
freaking
kept,
5 minutes
Well, the
of me.
I think the thing that's so amazing about your story is that you kept bartending while
Yes.
this was going on.
Sober
right?
bartender.
It wasn't like a clean cut into this other
Yes.
life. Like you were like, I gotta pay my bills and keep working, right? And so
And the bar scene can be a little like, I always say it's like a toxic relationship. It's
Yeah.
love-hate because you're making great money.
Yeah.
But you're also in a dicey environment. But I think that's something that helped me in a way because I knew I could have alcohol at any time, but
Yeah.
I was choosing not to. And to me, that made it like, oh man, like every shift was freaking hard at first. Like, I'm not drinking.
yeah, I'd be so anxious. I'd probably be good for like 2 hours, and I'd be like,
Yes,
get
and then
me
I
outta
take
here.
like my little pickle juice shots and my Sprite shots, because it's such a social thing.
One of my first conversations with you, I was like, hey, I know you stopped drinking. You're like, yeah, I love it. I work at the bar and I take water shots now. So, and I was like, I bet that's so fun.
It honestly is in a way because it kind of like like builds my strength in me. Like the more it kept happening, every shift that went by and I didn't drink,
It's empowering.
I was
You're
so
like, damn.
proud.
Yeah.
I'd get home and I was like,
I did
and then
it.
I lay down in bed alone. I'm like, oh, okay, great. No one to share this with.
Yeah.
And I knew
Like,
that.
no one cares.
Yeah, literally, no one. Everyone's so busy with their lives. Like,
For
okay,
sure.
Casey, stop drinking. Boo-hoo. She'll come back.
Yeah.
Like that was the sense I got also in the friends that I had at the time.
Friends, right.
Yeah, because they were party friends.
Yeah. That's the
And-
thing, like, too, with my addiction. as
Yes.
I've had some up and downs. You really figure out who are your
Friends,
friends.
quote unquote. Like,
Right.
do they want me because maybe I bring something to the table that's part of like our addictive personalities? Do you
Right.
like me because I have connections to
Yeah.
make it to
'Cause I'm
said
fun when I go
party?
out, right, yeah.
Like, what was this?
Right. And yeah, I and those, I say, the loss of relationships as you transition in and out of an addiction, it's painful, but I also view it as like a really good thing in the sense, like it's a great filter
Yeah.
of like who actually matters,
Yes.
right? And who actually like, is my friend.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Like who's
Why
really
are
got
we
my back.
friends? How did we connect? Why are we connect? Like,
Yeah.
there were so many questions that
And-
I questioned everything, every friendship, honestly.
For sure. And there's this, I don't know how to explain it. It's very evident though, like, let's say it's a friend and now they know that you've been having some issues with this.
Yeah.
Right? And you can tell they're like kind of treating you differently.
Yes.
Right. Versus there are these people.
Yeah. And
when
then they
you
stop
interact with
inviting
them,
you to go to things.
that-
Does that happen to you? Because it's like, well,
Oh, yeah, for
he's in
sure.
recovery. I'm not going to invite him to come to this party because
For sure.
what if, and it's like, it doesn't mean I don't want to hang out with you guys, but also I want the invite.
For sure.
Invite me
It
and I can
hurts to
say
not get the
no,
invite.
okay?
Yeah.
But it's
Give me the opportunity
it
to say
messes
no.
with your mind because you're like, why were we friends?
I'm like a social pariah of some sort.
Yes,
right?
like,
Yeah.
and then it's on you to decide if you want to put yourself in these situations when it's so fresh. Because I started saying no to everything. Because I'm like, I know I don't have the self-control right now to be in environments where
Yeah.
there's going to be alcohol around me. Because at work, at least I had cameras and they would tell us not to drink. Never true. But at least I could think about that.
Yeah.
But if I'm out and about at a party, music's loud, everyone's dancing, I knew in me that I was going to want to drink.
For sure.
And I did not have the
Be like
filter.
anxious and like I don't know how to
Yes.
be here and
Yes,
all this.
and
stuff.
this might be a little too personal, but it was interesting because I had realized that I would never really had sex completely sober for a long time, and it was freaking mind blowing that I had this thought and like, wait, what, Casey? I was so disappointed in myself, and even saying it out loud to my sister
Yeah.
felt like so shameful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say not that. I'm gonna say non-sober sex can be intimate, but there's a different form of intimacy, right? When
Yes.
you're entirely sober.
How crazy was that I never realized that for
Yeah.
years and years.
Like you're numbing in some sense, like the
Yes.
deepest intimacy there that you can find.
And I got so scared of having sex for a while. I was like, oh no, that sounds awful. Hell no, I am not doing that.
Casey wanted to become a nun. Everyone.
Yeah, 100%. I was in this path where I was like, I'm just living life again for the first time in a weird way.
That's how
And
I felt since coming back down here. I'm
Yes.
like, you've been reborn. Like,
Yes.
I don't know.
And now
what
you
I
get
am
to
or who I am.
decide how that's going to go, which is
Yeah.
so empowering and terrifying at the same time.
For sure.
You know, like, uh-oh, I'm in
It has,
charge.
like-
Uh-oh.
It has this gravity. There's this gravity to it too. Like when your best attempt at life ends with you waking up in a cornfield and needing to go to treatment, like it's very humbling. You
It's
really
like,
gotta
can I
look at
trust
yourself.
myself? And I
Yeah.
think that's something that you learn. Like, can I be trusted? Like, in a party, for instance, like
Yeah.
being around people who are drinking. Can I be trusted if I'm bartending alone and I know my manager's not around? If I'm going to start drinking, you
Yeah.
know, and it's lonely, man. The first couple, I would say, the first year was really lonely, and then I started building community, and I still had the community at the gym. Don't get me wrong, and it was really cool, but I could never make it to social gatherings because I was still bartending. So to me, it was really hard to like. I wanted to start making new friends, but also my schedule was not allowing it.
Yeah.
So my time at the gym was
You were like constrained, right?
in a way, yes. And then I stopped bartending a little more, and I was not sure what the hell I was doing. And I'm still trying to figure that out, but I stopped bartending and kind of spending more time with people that I was more similar with. And I started realizing that we can all throw a party and all we have in the cooler are club sodas.
Yeah.
And we're all having a freaking blast, and I'm not scared of anyone driving home. And my boyfriend, my partner right now, he's been 12 years sober.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that we can go have dinner, that we can have
It's
crazy nights.
Things get way easier when you have a pal.
Oh
that you
my
do it
goodness.
with, right?
And we have a great time.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
I'm completely in
that makes me so
control
happy.
now of everything, which
Yeah.
before I was like, if I start drinking, I know I was going to lose control. And I kind of liked it.
It's like,
It's kind of like,
it's kind of exciting. It's kind of scary.
yes, it's
but
both.
yeah.
But you still
There's
go
like a
full
thrill
on
of it, right?
small one.
You're like, I don't know what's going to shake out, but it'll be
Yes.
interesting. Right?
It's
Yeah.
really, it's odd. And I don't know why, but we all love it. It's that
Yeah.
excitement. It's like how they say cheaters get that high. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, will I get caught? Will
Yeah.
I? And then
It's like a form of defiance in a way.
it
right?
is
So-
like, you know what? I'm going to be this naughty person.
Yeah.
And it's not that cool. I'll tell you from now, it is not worth it.
No.
And now I feel like I am so in control of everything that happens in my life that I started drinking again because I found a new relationship with alcohol. And I think I've had maybe like, I would say 7 drinks in the past 6 months, something
Yeah.
like that. And it is so empowering to be able to have one drink and be like, this has no control over me. And I'm having one. I'm barely finishing the one.
Yeah.
And I already start feeling like the effects of alcohol in my body. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like where this is going. It's
not-
crazy.
and I don't know, addiction is in substance use can be so interesting too, in the sense, I don't know what your spiritual views are, but essentially what happens in addiction is you say, I don't like how I feel, right? And sometimes you come in with religious beliefs, like believing in God, like maybe God could change things or something. Then you find a substance, right? And you're like, I can play God because I have this substance
Yeah.
out here, right? That I can change how I feel, right? And so it's like,
To me, it was like
You
not
develop
even
almost-
changing it. It was like silencing something that was in my head. To me, it was
numbing.
more like numbing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? This is too stressful. Blah, let's go
Yeah.
drink. It was whether it was a bad day, whether it was a good day, it was always a reason to drink.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned.
Oh yeah. You can. There's,
I'm happy. Let's
brain-
drink.
the-
I'm sad. Let's go drink.
the
It's
brain
like,
is so good at justifying it. It's like, well,
excuses.
Like, you know, if we're gonna have a party, I need to have the best time, right?
Yes.
Or like, I've had the worst day. I
need.
God to numb this, right?
And when you start saying I need it instead of I want it. And I
Yeah.
think that's been the biggest difference of I used to think I couldn't go a day without drinking. I think I went years with drinking every day.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
My kind of stint, you know, I do classify myself as an alcoholic, but my stint with alcoholism was, you know, originally I was a stimulant addict. It was like Adderall and Vyvanse. It was much later on that I, you know, really had a problem with alcohol, but much briefer, but than like years, or more like months type of thing. But it's drinking in particular, in my experience, man, is it hard on you.
Yeah.
Like if
Your
you-
body just suffers. My mom would tell me, like she was telling me the other day, like I would show up to lunch and I was just shaking.
Yeah.
And she could tell like my hand was
That's scary.
shaking, you know, like
Yeah.
I'd get the shakes. I'd show up to day shifts and I was shaking. I was taking a drink at 10:30, 11 on a
right,
Sunday.
right? You got to like be able to function.
And
right?
I'm like, what the hell? And the only thing that would fix that was another shot.
Right. Yeah.
Duh.
It's scary. Like,
You know, and it's like
it's a hard one to
terrifying
kick,
that
yeah.
like now I treat my body like a temple.
Yeah.
You know, like I think about everything that I do, lotions that I use. Like I want to get in the sauna. I want to do all these things to take care of my body. And back then, I just did not care at
Yeah.
all what I was doing with it.
Yeah, I know you somehow you convince yourself that like
Do
what
you
you do
think-
doesn't matter in a way, right? And that this is okay. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that comes from a place of like, because I know I didn't like myself back then. I did not love myself, and I wonder if that was like addiction can be tied to just not really being happy with who you are.
For sure.
And-
I mean, I very much view addiction. It's like a spiritual sickness of sorts, right?
Yeah.
That you have for whatever reason. And I would say I had this even before I, you know, really had a problem with substances. That it always felt like, I don't know, like you're missing
Yeah,
something. Like a God-sized hole, so to
Yes,
speak.
you
right?
can't put the finger on it, but something feels off.
Yeah, you're just like you have this sense of like otherness from other people, right? That somehow like I'm like different, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
even you know I had like friends and played sports and all
Yeah,
that.
but still, there's
wasn't that things were
something that's
bad, but it was like
missing.
just like somehow I felt like different and
Yeah.
not quite whole, I guess. And then you find a substance, right?
Yeah.
And it fills that hole.
Yeah.
And it does it good, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is you like develop a tolerance, right? And you start playing on those reward systems,
Yeah.
and you need more to fill that hole. Like,
Yes.
you need more to fill that hole. Now you've done it enough where if you stop, you're going to be going through withdrawal, right? And so it's like it just becomes this monster of trying to fill this hole, right,
Mm-hmm.
with something external. So yeah, I think like that, perhaps, I don't know if I want to say negative, but like kind of harsh relationship with yourself. I think, I
Yes.
mean, that's a very key feature of addiction. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta start really loving yourself in order to make that change, in my opinion, to be
Yeah.
like, or just pretend. Not pretend, but like, know that you want to get there and believe that you can get there.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting too is it's take someone that's trying to get better. Me waking up in the cornfield, I was like, I don't know, this is like pretty bad. I don't know how I'm gonna like put my life back together. And I wasn't convinced that I was gonna be able to put my life back together.
Yeah.
But
This-
I was at least open to the possibility that this could occur.
Yes.
Right, and that's all you need
Yeah.
in order to start making it happen. It's only
Yeah.
when we close ourselves off and say, I can't be helped,
Yeah.
or like I can't change this, or I couldn't do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's how you stay where you're
Yeah.
at, right? All you need, though, you don't have to believe you're necessarily going to get better or change. You just have to be open to it, like a
Yes.
maybe, right? And start
That's
moving your
all.
feet.
Uh-huh.
Right? And, yeah. So
That's so interesting. I wrote something about self-love because obviously when
Let's
you're
go
not
for
too
it.
happy with yourself,
yeah, pick a
you
journal entry.
surround yourself with people that are not the best for you. So this was after
We
an
attract
ex-boyfriend.
what we are. Right?
Yes,
So-
and it was more like about choosing yourself instead of allowing bad things. But this is literally called A Letter to My Future Self, and I wrote it April 2023.
okay.
And it was like, I will not hate anymore. I will not waste another second wondering why
Read it
I was
really dramatically.
I know, right?
Lower
Why
your
I
voice.
wasn't enough. That time is over. Now I'm my main priority. I know I'm enough. I'm capable. I am lovable. Just because someone couldn't appreciate me doesn't change my value. It's their loss. Instead of investing my time and energy hating or wondering why, I will invest it in becoming my best version. I like to view myself as other people do. I need to learn how to be kind to myself, to love and appreciate everything I do, to build boundaries and respect them, to not be scared of being alone, to not give a fuck of what other people think. It's me time and nothing will get in my way.
Love that.
So this was like one of those brief little like illumination moments that I would have of, I know I can do better,
Yeah.
you know?
I think the thing is too. Are you familiar with like the stages of change?
No.
I'll
I know
send-
there's probably denial because I
I'll
experienced a
send you
lot of that.
Send you this after, but there's like these 5 stages where it's like, you identify the problem. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily agree. Say, you have to come to terms with the fact that there is a problem. Like,
Yes.
there's like the pre-contemplative stage of like,
Yes.
maybe I'm an addict, right? And then there's like the contemplative stage where like it's kind of sinking in. I'm like, yeah, I think I am an addict, right? And then there's like the game planning, but it takes a long time to actually get the final result of the change, right?
Yes.
But it's like that's really beautiful in the sense of that's well before, right, you hit your bottom,
Yeah.
right? But looking back, you can see that like that you were already on the path. becoming
Yeah, there's
exactly where
already
you're at
something
now.
fighting in you.
Yeah,
You know,
it's just like under, it's like
Yes.
it's like a glacier that's entirely submerged, and it's like it's kind of happening, but it takes a while to finally like come out of
Yes.
the water. Some parts of it. And, yeah, I'll see if I can pull out some random journal entry.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, we took a brief intermission. Here's a journal entry for me, I think from 2017, so
Ooh,
9
let's
years
see.
ago. I wrote, I think this will be my last treatment. Not true. So, this one hurt. I was in sober living.
Uh-huh.
I relapsed. They were like, you can stay in sober living, but you have to go back to treatment. I was like, no. But I went back to treatment. Mm-hmm. And when they caught me when I relapsed, I had to call my dad. And I told him, I was like, it's my dad's birthday. I really don't want to make this phone call today.
No.
Right? No, you got to make it. So I called my dad up on his birthday. I'm like, Dad, so sorry. I relapsed. I have to go back to treatment. That was my birthday gift to my dad back then.
Yeah.
So now I'm into treatment. That's when I'm writing this. But I think this will be my last treatment. This is like August 2017. I want to have sustainable happiness in life and sobriety as the only chance for that happening. I will take my recovery prescription as prescribed. The promises will come true if I keep believing and keep working in this program. I want to get better at being a part of the fellowship. People like me. I should quit doubting that. Maybe I really can do school sober. Sometimes I feel like my personality is really dulled in my sobriety. This probably isn't true. I hope my mom is all right. I wonder what my life will look like a year from now. I bet it will change as much as my life has in the year preceding this entry. These sure are interesting times and potentially profoundly pivotal. That's all.
I called my dad from jail one of his birthdays, so sorry, dads.
Good time.
Sorry.
I've never had any legal issues somehow, but
Oh my goodness. I love how you have so much hope in that journal entry.
yeah, it's weird. Looking back, I was like, I don't view myself as a hopeful person at the time. I was like really down. I was trying to get sober too, and I was getting help at this point, but I was not succeeding. So,
But I think it's like when you're so down that you see so much room for progress, and that's where that weird hope comes in that you probably did not think you had, just because you're like, man, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I know what's gonna happen.
yeah,
But there's so much out there if I actually change that I don't even know how good I can have it.
for sure. And I think, yeah, I mean, during this time when I was writing this, I was like, I'd gotten quite overweight. I was like crushing pints with Ben and Jerry's at night and like reading in the library at this treatment facility. They only had so many books, and they wouldn't let so many books. You couldn't bring books in, so I'm like reading this like massive tome of the American Revolution. And yeah,
That sounds terrible.
that's when I wrote that. But
Oh my goodness.
the next thing we'll do, there's a
Ooh,
little
yes.
jar over there from my previous guest, Peyton Knight. You might have,
I saw it, yes.
Yeah. But there's a question in there if you want to grab it and answer it.
I'm so excited.
I have no
Okay,
idea what
it
is.
reads, if you could go back to one specific moment in your life and redo it, what moment would that be? What would you do differently and why?
Ooh.
That's a good one, girl. Wow. Honestly, I think this one has to do more with like my sister more than anything.
Okay.
Just because her and I are 4 years apart.
Yeah.
And I know that there have been so many times. I remember this one time in particular that I think I came to visit her or she came to visit me. I can't really remember right now. But we got into such a heated argument. And I was at that point where I was drinking every day. I was I was worried. Like, I just did not care what came out of my mouth.
Just an angry
You
person.
know, like,
Yeah.
I was just, like you said, I was just angry at the world. And, like, I always thought that when I was drunk, I could just say the meanest things and then be like, well, I was drunk, whatever.
Yeah.
And we could move on.
Like
But
it's some
that's
type of excuse.
That's not it. Words carry power, and that's something that I know now. But we got into it in the car, and I remember I was driving, which I should probably not have been because I woke up drunk. And I was just so mean to her. And I'm always going to definitely regret that because I always like to think now when I'm having like negative thoughts in my brain and I'm like, how would you talk to your sister?
Yeah.
Like if I were talking to my sister right now, I would not tell her all these
For sure.
things that go through my brain. And I always like to compare whatever I do in life. I'm like, how would Nikki do it? How would...
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I definitely regret. I'm glad now her and I are really close, like closer than ever. And I can tell it's because I have this new lifestyle
For sure.
where I have,
There's a way where that type of like pain, you know, where it's significant enough and you remember it, but if you say communicate and mend the fence well enough, the relationship is different, but it can be actually better in a way, right?
Yes.
The fact that you went through this like real adversity in the relationship.
and then you actually grow stronger just because, you know, there's actually been a change.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to change. It's like, no, I'm going to prove with my actions that
Yeah.
I can be that older sister that you need. Because
For
for a
sure.
long time, she's younger, but she was definitely like the older, like trying to take care of me and trying to talk me down from every like
Yeah, to step back into the shoes of like,
Yes.
no, I'm your older sister.
So
right?
it was really, I think that's like one of the moments where I'm like, I usually don't regret anything that I've done in the past just because I'm like, you know what, it was teaching me a lesson.
led me here. Right?
Whatever,
Yeah.
you know? But I think that's definitely like hurting people that are like in my corner. I think that's something that I hope, like, I wish I could change.
Yeah.
But I'm also just thankful for everything that's ever happened and just because it's helped me move forward in
For sure.
the way that I am right now.
Yeah, and it also, I mean, it gives just like gravity and intention in terms of you understand. I think it's actually really valuable, like, to understand that under the right circumstances, you can be a bad person in a way, right?
Yep.
And understanding that you as an individual are capable of that,
Yes.
right? Like, what am I gonna say? And then once you actually understand that really could be you,
Yeah.
right? when I say the like responsibility and intention that comes with like, no, I need to like take care of myself in certain ways because I don't want to be that person,
Yeah.
put that stuff out in the world, right? So, but I think that type of self-understanding is super valuable for sure.
Mm-hmm. That was a great question. That really made me go back.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is too, like, any really meaningful relationship in life, I'm not that old either, but like a very long-term friendship, right? It's built, there have been many times of forgiveness in that friendship and mutual, slack in the line and being like, hey, I did this thing and it wasn't the best. And the other person being like, it's okay. Like,
Let's move forward.
let's move forward. You're still you. Thank you for acknowledging this. But any super valuable relationship in life, it will have that built-in, long
Yeah.
series of forgiveness on both sides. Yeah.
That's something I'm learning now this is the first, I would say, like, healthy relationship that I have ever.
Yeah.
And it's because I am this new version that, like, is not hating on myself and then, like, projecting all this negative energy around.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I thought, like, healthy relationships never had issues, but it's not that. It's like, I was telling him the other day, like, when you love someone, you're just choosing that no matter what, we're a team.
Yeah.
When there's an issue, it's not you against me. It's literally both of us against this issue, whether I started it or he started it.
Right.
Which, to be fair, we haven't really had any, like,
Right.
big existential things. But, like, there's always going to be something like, hey, maybe you could have helped a little more today to put the dishes away.
Sure,
like,
there's-
problems that are so minimal if you look at it in the grand scheme of things. But it's thinking about it like, this is, like, we're a team.
Yeah. We're
Like,
in
we
this
got to
together,
work
right?
together.
Yeah.
How do we get to be that best version of ourselves together? And how do we
sure.
get to, like, help each other out every day?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not in a relationship currently, but I very much view, my job as a partner, right, is to take someone, right, let them be them, but
Yes.
help them be more of like the best parts of themselves,
Yes.
right, and essentially serve as like here's what they already are, and I'm gonna help like magnify or accentuate
All the good
that,
stuff,
right,
yes.
and bring more of that out of them, right. That's my job as a partner. And what else was I gonna say? I like in relationships too. I mean, even if it's a really good relationship, right? It's a sacrifice to be in a relationship. You make many
1000%,
sacrifices, right?
yes.
And no relationship is perfect either, right? There's
Never.
always going to be a degree of compromise because we're imperfect creatures. It's two imperfect creatures working
Yeah.
together, right? So
you just make the decision when you,
Yeah.
especially when you say, I love you and things like that. You make the decision that from now on, like, we're doing life together.
yeah,
And I'm going to have to compromise in certain aspects. Like,
Yeah.
you want to wake up and go to run on the track on Tuesday early mornings, good pain, your hearing. Like, I'm going to have to wake up early too.
I think I'm going to start trying to come to good pain with my brother. I'm going to die. I know it. I'm terrified.
just
but-
do it. But it's interesting because there's, like, certain things that you just know you're going to do different. And that is so fine. And it's weird because once I started changing and building the life that I wanted, I thought there was not going to be space for a relationship because I was so happy with how life was. It's like, if someone doesn't fit into my
and
schedule,
that made it full, right?
yes, I was like, everything's great. I have a great community. I love what I'm doing. I know I'm like in my path.
Yeah.
I know it felt good. And then out of nowhere, it just happened that someone just kind of flows with you in that aspect. And it doesn't mean he adjusts to me or I adjust to him. It just means you both start building something together.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, I thought it was like, no, you're going to have to adjust to my new life.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that was kind of more selfish of me to think. And I'm
Like,
still learning. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but
Yeah.
that was a really selfish way of thinking, even though when I thought that I had everything figured out.
Yeah, I
that-
don't know. I think it's also though like a steadfastness or like what's the word? Stubbornness. Of,
Yes.
Like, I'm doing better and nothing will deviate me from this
Yes.
path, right? So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a bad thing, but
Yeah.
yeah. But,
It was interesting to change my mind so fast.
yeah. All right, the last question I'm going to ask.
Okay,
figure
let's
out how to
see.
close. That's a deep question. But
Let's
like,
go.
what like drives you, right? Like, why do you do what you do?
I like this. I think that I have I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I've noticed that I have a way of making people feel comfortable. And I think that's a superpower that I'm more going to call it superpower. But I think that's something that not a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Because I'm very open and I've always tried, I don't know from where it comes from, but I always try to make people feel comfortable and included,
Yep.
even if it's a small conversations. I always try to remember what they told me last, like small things like that. And I think that is a quality that can make me that can allow me to help people.
It's like a virus. You could spread it.
In a way, yes. Yeah. And I think that's something beautiful. I'm someone who's always smiling. And I can tell even like going, and I always smile at people no matter where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I can tell sometimes people don't care. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But other times you see other people smiling. And it reminds me of like sometimes if I'm having maybe not a great day and someone smiles at me, I'm like, man, that's me usually.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's like my little like best quality or like my little gift.
Yeah.
That
You're
like the universe has given me.
To others.
And I think it's like my duty in a way.
It's a
I don't believe in
responsibility.
God or anything like that. I'm not too spiritual, but I think like the universe has given me like, hey, this is your superpower, so go and use it.
Yeah.
Because I can tell it's working.
Yeah.
I'm so happy and I get to help others and it's just like this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I tell people like now work doesn't feel like work. And I
That's
feel
how
like
I feel about science.
it's insane. I'm like, wait, what? I get to do this.
I got my boss. She's like, Mitchell, it's 5. Like, please go home. And I'm like, no. Like, I like it here.
You love
Right.
it so much that it just does not feel like work. And
Yeah.
it just, I feel lucky to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's like my calling.
Yeah.
My calling, I think it is to just help others and kind of spread the word of like, at any point in life, you can make a change and pick yourself and become that version that you never thought you could be. Yeah. And I think there's something so powerful in that just it's so transformative.
Yeah. I think also too, like, we always think like, oh, I'll do that when I'm like fully ready for it, right? You're
Yeah.
never going to be fully ready.
You're never ready. Let's be honest. Like you decide when you're ready and
Yeah.
then it'll happen.
Yeah.
But
It's
like
there's never going to be this perfect moment to make this big life change. Right?
never.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It just happened on a random, I think it was like a Wednesday, started crying, decided it was time to change. Because there's always, oh, I'll start next week. I'll start next month.
Yeah.
Ooh, January 1st. I'll start then. Nah.
One thing I've
no.
learned too, actually very useful, that mindset of like, I'm going to do that later. Like if I have negative thinking, I'm like, actually, I'll worry about that like in a week, right?
Yes.
And, like just shifting it from like these good things I want to do to like if I have negative thoughts, I'm like,
Yeah.
we're going to set that aside for like a couple weeks. We'll get to that. But
Yeah. I also, when I was reading Atomic Habits, I went on a read kick of like all these self-help books.
You're a reader, I know. We
Oh
haven't
God,
even gotten to it,
crazy. And this stuck with me for a long time. And it was in Atomic Habits, they talk about the 2-minute rule.
Okay.
And it's like when you are dreading something, the worst part of it is the first 2 minutes.
For sure.
When you're dreading going to the grocery store, going anywhere, you moving from your bed to your car, that's the worst part. Once you're rolling, you're good to go.
Yeah, the hardest part is getting going.
Yes.
Right?
So it's like you got to put your brain in like self-pilot. And that's what would happen at first because I was never a morning person. And I started waking up at 5:45, going to 2 workouts.
If you can get your schedule set up once you start getting up early, it's the best.
It's life-changing.
Oh, it's amazing.
But I hated it. I dreaded it every morning. It does not get easier for the first, I would say 7 months. I'm not going to lie. But you have to know that you're going to feel better and stop thinking about what's happening right now and just know that it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I think that the 2-minute rule really set in my head because every morning I'd be like, just shut up and do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And it would help so much just knowing that
Like
once you go.
Like, addiction has such a fuck it attitude.
Yes.
Of like, well, I've had 2 drinks. Like, fuck it. We'll have another one, right?
Yes.
But it's like this.
That's
of
a great
like,
way of putting it.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge case of the fuck it.
I feel like I had a giant
Unlimited
sign on
fuck
my
it.
forehead that just said "fuck it."
Yeah. I need to get groceries and I have $100 in my bank account. Dude, I'm having a great night. We're selling out. Fuck it. We're buying
Yes.
people drinks, right?
Yes.
That's it. But so addiction is very much characterized by that. And then in sobriety or whatever, you have to deal with how you actually feel. But that same mindset of like, ah, fuck it, I'll just like do it, right?
Yeah.
That's
It can be
It's kind of the same in
beneficial in
some
a
ways.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten into the habit of getting up early here as well, and I had this day a few months ago, so I've lost like quite a bit of weight too. Since
Oh yeah, I've seen. Congratulations.
But I had this day like maybe like 3 months ago, so I was like 5 months sober, and I kind of been babying myself in some ways of like, don't get too well too fast. Just make sure you got your basics right here.
Yep.
Community, sleep, training, blah, blah. And there's this day I woke up and it was like 5:30. I really didn't want to get up. And I just sat there. I'm like, you could go back to bed. You don't even have anything that you really need to do.
You start negotiating with yourself.
Yeah. And then I was like, what's it gonna be today, Mitchell?
Yeah.
And I just started like asking myself that question. And I was like, no, like, yeah, you're gonna get up.
And to me, I always like to think about how I'm going to feel if I stay in.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm definitely going to regret this. And then I know
it hurts either way, right?
Yes.
If you do it, it hurts. If you don't do it, it hurts. So.
I always say, if I'm at the gym and I go through my warm-up, and after the warm-up, I want to leave, then leave.
Yeah.
But at least make it there and start moving your body. Because once you're there, you're like, oh, this feels good.
Yeah,
Juices are
you get,
flowing.
like,
Let's go, you
yeah,
know?
For sure.
But that's like in anything in life. Just get started. Don't overthink the first moment because you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I mean, look at us trying to get this podcast going today, right? The hardest part was getting it started. Once we got going,
So
we can't
true.
shut up.
But it's true. Like, just try to know that you're headed in the right direction and start to pause all those like negative self-talk, like self-beliefs and all that negative self-talk that you give yourself and feed yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, tell that voice to shut up for a second, start moving, and then see what happens.
Yeah.
Because once you gain that momentum, like once I gained the momentum of changing my life every day, like it's been wonderful ever since. And it just keeps getting better.
That's the thing too. Yeah, that's been very shocking to me as I've just like focused on my basics, make sure I'm nailing those. Like,
Yeah.
Man, it just like keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Keeps getting better.
And you got to start small. You can't start trying to change everything at once. Like it's not manageable. And that's what I always tell people, even when they
It's
start
these
like
little wins.
Yes.
Right? They start adding up.
That's like number one habit that I tell all my girls at first when they start training, like celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
And the first 2 weeks are going to be pretty mellow because I just want you to fall in love with this. I don't want you to think of it like, oh, this is a hassle. This is too hard. Why would I even start?
Yeah.
It's like start small. Start accomplishing small things, celebrate that.
For sure.
And then start expanding. You're in no rush. You got your whole life. If you're
Yeah.
really that serious about this whole thing, you got your whole life to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Just start stacking like
Yeah.
days where you're having these
Yeah.
wins.
How
right?
many days are you not drinking? I remember every day I would write down so many drinks not drinking. And then I'd add it up every 2 weeks. This marks so many like days.
Yeah.
Like, and it felt so good.
Oh, it's amazing. You're like, I don't know how I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
happening,
But
right?
let's keep
So-
doing it. And I don't
Yeah.
want to mess this number up because I love this number. Let's keep it up high, you know?
Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we'll close here.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I've had a
This was
wonderful time,
lovely.
so, yeah, leave it there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.